And there's a protective cover on the inside that needs to be popped in place, and it's kind of a difficult procedure. Or how about it's just maybe not difficult, but it just takes a little bit of time and finesse. And Ken Strite there, the quality assurance guy from NASA, is, you know, checking the procedures and making sure everything is done according to the book.
GNC, go.
Step 676, gyro compass alignment is complete.
Copy.
Shortly they'll be putting a harness on once they deflate the seal and start preparations for the white room to break down.
And in the countdown, we just heard that the whole fire checks are complete. That's the ability to stop the launch on short notice manually if we have to. And we're awaiting a final update on COLAs, collision avoidance, and at this point, though, there are still no COLAs anticipated. And whether KSC is still go, but we're awaiting an update from overseas. Well, Greg, it looks like we're about wrapped up. The crew's on board and the hatch is closed. So we certainly appreciate your coming up and talking with us today. And we've enjoyed the insight into what goes on in the crew compartment while the astronauts are going through their ingress and waiting for launch. So we'll look forward to talking with you once more, I hope, and seeing you on a upcoming launch.
Well, thanks, George. It's been a pleasure visiting with you today, and hope to talk with you soon.
Thanks very much.
OTC, OVCC 212.
OBCC, go.
Yes, sir. Hatch is closed and latch for flight. Prop sport set up 20.
Copy that. ECL, CMQC, copy? ECL, copy.
And OTC, I'll be going back to 142.
Okay, copy that. CMQC, I'll give you 670. CDR and ECL stand by to perform cabin leak check. Master alarm and light will come on as a function of the high pressure cabin. CDR should notify ECL of cabin pressure master alarm. Klaxon master alarm will also sound due to high pressure cabin decay rate.
CDR copies.
The CDR on L2, your cabin vent isolation switch open, so you get an open talk back.
Vent open and the talkback shows open. The vent is checked closed.
Very good, copy that. ECL 673.
That's verified.
Okay, and ECL give you 674.
Copy. And OTC, OVCC.
BCC, go.
Yes, sir. Can I have a channel for my NASA quality to clear TIR numbers?
Okay, 118, CMQC.
Copy 118.
CCSC and RCRT, step 692, go to 232.
RCRT, copy.
Thank you, sir.
This is shuttle launch control, T-minus 56 minutes, 43 seconds and counting. We'll look now at some video of Space Shuttle Atlantis being prepared for its launch today, which actually began with its landing on the last mission, STS-106, which was on September 20th of 2000, last year. This is the touchdown of Atlantis on the 15,000-foot runway at the shuttle landing facility. And as soon as it rolled to a stop, its numerical designation changed as far as mission number from STS-106 to STS-98. Here the external tank for the mission is being offloaded from the barge where it has come from Michoud in Louisiana. It's taken to the vehicle assembly building where it is checked out for mating to the solid rocket boosters. And at the orbiter processing facility, this is installation of one of Atlantis's 3 main engines. First of the 3 engines going in. We see some of the main engine technicians inside working to attach each of the engines. And when the processing of Atlantis is complete, they back out of the orbiter processing facility, Bay 3, on December the 4th, going to the vehicle assembly building transfer aisle where it is attached to the sling, rotated to vertical, and then mated to the awaiting external tank and solid rocket booster stack, now in the vertical position. There was an initial rollout on January 3rd and then a rollback January 19th to do some solid rocket booster wiring signals to confirm the continuity in cables from orbiter Atlantis through these electrical cables that send the signals to separate the solid rocket boosters. And 2 minutes into the mission, the readiness of those cables was verified. And during December, there was some additional work done on the cables to assure their integrity. And with the wiring work complete, the final rollout to the launch pad was on January the 26th. Space Shuttle Atlantis with the U.S. laboratory Destiny aboard weighs 4,520,235 pounds. Atlantis by itself at launch weighs 254,694 pounds, just 5.8% of the total weight of the Space Shuttle stack. And when it lands, it'll come in at just 198,909 pounds after the U.S. laboratory Destiny is mated to the International Space Station. At T-minus 52 minutes, 37 seconds and counting, this is shuttle launch control.
OTC from QC. Give you step 670. And we have no one responding on 128 for engineer part.
Just stand by there.
OTC, CL212.
HCO go.
Okay, we just followed the crew now. We're getting ready to pressurize this time.
Did not copy, Eleanor.
We're getting ready to, we just want to let the crew know that we're getting ready to pressurize the crew module.
Okay. See, copy. CDR, OTC, perform cabin.
The launch director and flight director have conferred, and we will be going for our preferred launch time at 6:11:16 this evening. Cape weather continues to report no significant clouds or weather, and we're awaiting an update from the overseas sites. There's a new forecast being developed now and some fresh data coming in that is being analyzed by the Spaceflight Meteorology Group in Houston. And we're optimistic that Ben Guerrero is going to develop into a GO emergency landing site for us today. It's not at that point yet, but we expect that with the data that's coming in that that status of that should be changing. After the space shuttle lifts off, it will go transonic at about 1 minute into the flight. The solid rocket booster separation will occur 2 minutes 4 seconds after launch. 10 seconds later, the orbital maneuvering system will then begin firing for 1 minute and 42 seconds to add additional thrust to Atlantis' 3 main engines. And main engine cutoff will occur at 8 minutes 31 seconds. We're looking now at a picture of the shuttle training aircraft flying the weather reconnaissance. It has just recently come in from looking over what few clouds there are out over the Atlantic Ocean, about 25 miles offshore. But basically, the report back is that there are no significant clouds that would affect our launch today. And Shuttle Weather Officer Ed Persellick is reporting that at launch time we expect pretty much clear skies.
And we're ready for 777, ready for cabin thinning.
Copy it, stand by.
After main engine cutoff on Atlantis, 8 minutes and 31 seconds after launch, there will be a final 2-minute burn of the orbital maneuvering system about 44 minutes into the mission. And at that point, Atlantis will be in an orbit of 201 by 121 statute miles.
The cabin vent ISO is coming open.
This is shuttle launch control at T-minus 9 minutes, 27 seconds and counting. Standing by now to go into the planned built-in hold at T-minus 9 minutes. This is allowed to work any issues, but at this point there aren't any. Going into the hold in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. T-minus 9 minutes and holding for 45 minutes and 16 seconds.
The hold will be 45 minutes and 16 seconds.
And at this time, we will now go to mission control to the Johnson Space Center in Houston, to the voice of Kyle Hearing to report the readiness of Houston flight and mission control to support today's launch of Atlantis.
Well, thanks, George, and hi, everybody, from NASA's Johnson Space Center. This is Mission Control Houston at T-minus 9 minutes and holding. The ascent team has been on console since about 1 this afternoon to support the launch of Atlantis on its 23rd mission into space. Flight director for the shift on the ascent shift today is Leroy Kane, overseeing his first launch as a flight director. And again, he's been overseeing that activities with the rest of his flight control team since about noon today. Astronaut Scott Altman is serving as a spacecraft communicator for Atlantis' climb to orbit. And to his right is Dom Gorey, who is serving as a weather capcom, talking with Terry Wilcutt and the shuttle training aircraft there at the Kennedy Space Center, as well as other astronauts overseeing and monitoring weather activities at the overseas transatlantic abort landing sites. The flight control team is monitoring all of the systems aboard the shuttle along with the launch team at the Kennedy Space Center and should shortly notify the flight director it is ready to support the 23rd launch of Atlantis today. It's been fairly quiet here in the Mission Control Center as there are no issues. The team is working, leading toward the launch at the desired launch time of 11 minutes after the hour. The only issue being discussed is the weather at emergency runways overseas, should they become necessary during the launch phase, but it appears that the weather is improving at the prime transoceanic abort landing site in Zaragoza, Spain, and that appears to be headed to be the primary TAL, or transoceanic abort landing site, if necessary. In addition to the flight control team in the shuttle room, down the hall resides a separate team of flight controllers led by Flight Director Sally Davis, overseeing activities on the International Space Station. Another support team, the Houston Support Group, is located in Moscow, providing a real-time interface with the program's Russian partner at the Mission Control Center in Korolyov outside Moscow. Once Atlantis lifts off, its onboard guidance system will maneuver the orbiter to a heads-down position, putting it on the proper heading alignment to achieve the desired orbit. At main engine cutoff, Atlantis will be in a 194 by 46 statute-mile orbit. About 30 minutes later, that orbit will be refined using the OMS engines, or the Orbital Maneuvering System engines, placing the orbiter in a 201 by 126 statute-mile altitude for on-orbit operations. Atlantis' launch up the east coast of the U.S. actually serves as the first in a series of rendezvous maneuvers designed to allow the shuttle to catch up with the International Space Station. Just 4 minutes before liftoff, the space station will fly directly above the launch pad and will be 1,500 miles northeast of the Kennedy Space Center, due east of St. John's, Newfoundland, above the North Atlantic at the time of the shuttle's launch. Docking of Atlantis to the International Space Station is scheduled to occur at about noon Eastern Time on Friday. About 30 seconds into the flight, the three main engines will be throttled back to lessen the effects of the dense lower atmosphere on the orbiter, and less than a minute later, the shuttle will accelerate rapidly, reaching a speed of 3,600 miles per hour at the point where the twin solid rocket boosters burn out and separate at 2 minutes 4 seconds. Once in orbit, Atlantis' three main engines will be shut down at the 8.5-minute point, followed just a few seconds later by the separation of the large external fuel tank. All continues to go smoothly here in Mission Control, again with flight controllers standing by to take over control of Atlantis and the STS-98 mission at liftoff. So back to you, George, at the Kennedy Space Center for these final minutes of Atlantis' countdown. At T-minus 9 minutes and holding, this is Mission Control Houston.
Okay, we'll check DC to 72% at...
So to this point, I'd just like to understand what additional data we'll need and when in the 9-minute hold you'd like.
All right, George, thank you. Here you see the Guppy arriving back in November 1998. And it's in the Super Guppy transportation fixture right there. You see it being lifted off of one fixture and onto the flatbed trailer towards the end of the evening there. It was a long day for the Guppy crew and the folks doing the offload. And there you see it on a flatbed trailer on its way over to the space station processing facility. Here we are the following day, and they are lifting it out of the Super Guppy transportation fixture. You can see the silver wrap around it. That's there to protect it from any debris or contamination which could occur during the transportation process. And then finally with the cargo strongback being lifted over into the element rotation stand, coming down gently. And there you see it with the two rings around it, which allow the lab to pivot 360 degrees. And then with all the platforms installed and the Destiny sign. Last year we performed an integrated compatibility test. Here you see an engineer and one of the astronauts as they look at a computer screen that the astronauts will use up on orbit, doing a lot of the testing. The integrated compatibility testing was there to verify that the vehicle could perform as expected on orbit with the software. Here you see Marcia Ivins, one of the crew members on this flight, and some of the other members as they look inside Lab Destiny. getting well acquainted with it. They spent a lot of time down here at KSC. Now we move a little forward, and we see the lab going over to the operations and checkout building, where we've lifted it out of a transportation canister, and we're going to do an element leak test of the whole thing in a vacuum chamber. Of course, one of the major leak pads we're worried about is right there. That would have been one of the hatches. It was one of the major interfaces we verified was sealed tightly during the element leak test. There you see we placed it in the rotation handling fixture. We rotate it from horizontal up to vertical. Disconnect a portion of the beam, realign those pins you saw there for the center of gravity of this big beast. Lift it on up high. Bring it across that walkway. You see where those folks are standing. And then we begin to lower it down into the vacuum chamber. It spent a grand total of almost 3 days in the vacuum chamber getting fully tested. You see part of the rotation handling fixture stayed with it, and we had to take its mass and its properties into account. We were doing calculations about our performance in the vacuum chamber. There you see the lid going down. That lid is one massive piece of metal. Probably weighs more than my entire house. When the test was concluded, we were 18 times better than specification allowed us to be. So we were very happy. There you see the lab coming back out. You can see some of the blankets, which are white compared to the debris shields, which are more silver, and they're made of aluminum structure. There you see it being placed back into the fixed part of the rotation handling fixture, and it was brought back over to the space station building, where the crew came over and they continued with their literally hundreds of fit checks they had to do of things they wanted to verify would fit. Some are contingency, some are guaranteed to be done. That's a payload data grapple fixture that they had just fit checked. And you see a part of the interior closeouts. Once again, more of the crew visiting. That's Ken Cockrell on the left and Marsh Ivins on the right. And here's one of the 2 NASA emblems, which we installed on the lab. You can see we do the match drilling there so that it fits very exactly on the lab. Get that vacuum cleaner going so we don't leave any debris. And we did not install it upside down. That's just the easiest way to put it in. As when we're done with all our testing, there you see it being lifted out of the element rotation stand. This is right before the holidays back in December. You see it flying over to the launch package integration stand. They bring it over very slowly. You see one of our NASA emblems there. And then it was slowly lowered down into the launch package integration stand, and we did 3 separate weighings. When it's all said and done, the lab came in at around 29,500 pounds. There were just a couple of items left off of that had to be installed at the pad. But for all intents and purposes, the lab is 29,500. Once that was done, we lifted it out of the launch package integration stand, took it over to the transportation canister, lowered it into place. Then on January 2nd, we took that transportation canister with the lab over to the canister rotation facility, took it from horizontal to vertical. And then very early on the morning of January 3rd, 2001, we went out to pad A. And here you see that operation as we're lifting up right around dawn there. Lift the payload canister so that it berths nicely and you get a nice, good airtight seal with the payload changeout room. Here you see the payload with final work being done to it in the payload ground handling mechanism, or the PGM as we call it. And there you see it translating forward to be installed into the orbiter. This was a week ago, just last Monday. Once again, you see more crew members. They spent a lot of time with us. They wanted to make sure they fully understood the lab and could help the ISS Expedition 1 crew with all aspects of it. There we are with the launched activation heater cabling right there. Once we get up on orbit and during the first EDA, that's one of the first things the astronauts will have to deal with. Those heaters allow the lab to stay warm between the time we initially get up on orbit and we are unberthed from the orbiter to be installed onto the International Space Station. Now you see the closing of the payload bay doors. This occurred just a week ago last Tuesday. They closed the port side first and finally the starboard side. It was a unique privilege. I and a few other members of the team went out there to the payload changeout room and watched as they did this, and it was an honor to be one of the last people on Earth to see the U.S. lab down here on Earth. Those doors closed, and There was a lot of high fives and handshakes at that point. And now we're ready to go.
Well, John, thank you very much. I know that this is a very exciting moment for you. A lot of time that you and many members of NASA and the Boeing team have spent on this. So, congratulations. Best of luck.
Thank you very much. And it would be hard to be more excited than we are right now. We are ready to go.
And we have 30 minutes, 53 seconds remaining in this planned built-in hold. This is at T-minus 9 minutes and holding. This is shuttle launch control.
Launch Director Entity? Yes, sir. Okay, the launch team is ready to proceed at this time. Okay, I copy that. I'll do my poll at this time. Chief Engineer, Launch Director, verify no constraints to launch. No constraints, we're ready to proceed, Mike. Copy, thank you, Charlie. KC Shuttle Safety Mission Assurance.
S-98, go.
Okay, thank you. International Space Station Launch Manager.
We are good to proceed.
Thank you, Bill. Range weather.
Roger, sir, and no constraints to launch.
Okay, copy. Ops Manager, Launch Director, verify no constraints to launch.
This management team understands the issue regarding the channel on OA1 Card 6. We understand that we are go for launch at this time. We concur. You have a go to proceed with the countdown.
Copy that, sir. In worst cases, GLS would catch us and hold us at 4 minutes.
And we understand.
Okay. Atlantis Launch Director.
Atlantis, go ahead.
Okay, Doctor, we've got a good day to go fly, and if we get the disturbance speed issue behind us, you'll be on your way. So we wish you the luck as you deliver the heart and soul of the International Space Station, and have fun.
On behalf of the crew, thanks to the KSC team and the shuttle and station programs, and let's get this vehicle off the MLP.
Copy that. That's the plan. NTD, with that, you're clear to proceed. And NTD copies. Attention all stations. The countdown clock will resume from T-minus 9 minutes momentarily. CGLS, pick up the count on your mark, please.
I copy. 3, 2, 1. T-minus 9 minutes and counting. GLS auto sequence has been initiated.
And from now till launch, over 1,000 different parameters on the space shuttle will be checked.
Houston Flight Entity on 212.
NTD Houston Flight 212.
Okay, need to update the lock stream back performance hold time when you get it, please.
Okay, sir. We'll have it momentarily. NTD Houston Flight 212.
Houston Flight, go ahead.
New drain back hold time, 2 minutes, 23 seconds.
I copy. 2 minutes, 23 seconds, lock stream back hold time.
That's a good copy, NTD.
Thank you. DLT, OTC, connect essential buses to fuel cells.
That is in work.
Standing by to retract the crew access arm.
The buses are connected to the fuel cell.
Copy, DLT.
GLS is go for orbiter access arm retract.
The orbiter access arm can be put back into position around the crew orbiter access hatch in just 28 seconds if that should be necessary. Next event will be the pre-start of the auxiliary power units. Coming up in 15 seconds.
JRPS, start APU recorders.
JRPS, I can verify recorders are running.
Copy. TLT, perform APU pre-start.
APU pre-start isn't work.
T-minus 6 minutes and counting.
TLT, APU pre-start is complete. We have a powerful talkback on number 1, and 2 and 3 are gray.
That's expected. Copy, Mark.
APUs will start in 45 seconds. And at that point, we'll terminate the replenishment of liquid oxygen, start the drain back.
Let's go for orbiter APU start. DLT, OTC, start APUs.
That is in work.
And if there's a problem with this MDM card, the computer will stop the count at 4 minutes.
OTC PLT, APU start is complete. Got 3 fine run APUs.
Excellent.
T-minus 4 minutes and counting.
Sequence 4. TC, CLT-12. CL, go. We didn't get the reconfigured heaters yet. Sorry, I missed that.
The air surface profile test now underway. Now the 3 main engines of Atlantis being gimbaled, going through their steering sequence to verify full controllability. T-minus 3 minutes and counting.
Yeah, let's just go for ET LO2 pressurization.
And we'll prepare now to retract the gaseous oxygen vent arm, the GOX cap.
TLT, clear caution warning memory. Verify no unexpected errors.
That's in work.
Top off of the fuel cells is being terminated.
OTC PLT, caution warning memory is clear. There were no unexpected messages.
Copy TLT. All flight crew members, close and lock your visors and initiate O2 flow.
Visors and O2 flow.
Yeah, let's just go for ET LH2 pressurization. 1 minute, 30 seconds.
Now arming the sound suppression water system. T-minus 1 minute. Turning off the solid rocket booster joint heaters. SRB flight data recorder is being activated. Standing by to hand off from the ground launch sequencer to Atlantis' onboard computers at T-minus 31. And the handoff has occurred. Atlantis' computers now controlling.
25 seconds. 20 seconds.
Firing chain armed. Sound suppression water system now activated.
10 seconds.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Go for main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And liftoff of Space Shuttle Atlantis with Destiny, a science laboratory for the 21st century.
Houston now controlling.
Houston, Atlantis, roll program.
Roger, roll, Atlantis.
The roll maneuver is complete aboard Atlantis. The vehicle is now in a heads-down position on course for a 51.6 degree, 201 statute mile orbit. Approaching 30 seconds into the flight, preparing to begin throttle down of the main engines as the vehicle prepares to pass through the area of maximum dynamic pressure on the orbiter. Seconds into the flight, Atlantis is already downrange from the launch site of 2.5 miles at an altitude now of 5 miles.
Atlantis, go at throttle up.
Go at throttle up.
Atlantis' 3 liquid-fueled engines are back at full throttle, approaching 1 minute 10 seconds into the flight. All systems in good shape. The hydraulic systems, auxiliary power units in excellent shape, as are the electricity-producing fuel cells aboard the vehicle. Atlantis already traveling 1,500 miles per hour. Downrange from the launch site 10 miles at an altitude of 13 miles. 1 minute, 30 seconds into the flight. At this point, Atlantis has already burned more than 2 million pounds of fuel and weighs half of what it did at launch. All very quiet, all going very smoothly aboard the orbiter. Approaching 1 minute 50 seconds. The next event is burnout and separation of the twin solid rocket boosters, which consume about 10 tons of propellant every second. SRB separation confirmed 2 minutes, 10 seconds into the flight. Atlantis traveling 3,000 miles per hour at an altitude of 31 miles, downrange from the launch site 40 miles. Beautiful view of Atlantis on its external tank now and main engines, each producing 400 pounds of thrust. The twin orbital maneuvering systems now firing for a duration of 1 minute 42 seconds to assist with Atlantis' climb to orbit.
Atlantis, Houston, 2-engine TOW.
2-engine TOW.
2 minutes 45 seconds into the flight, Atlantis can reach Zaragoza in Spain in the event of a single engine failure. At this point, however, all 3 are continuing to perform in excellent shape. Three minutes into the flight, Commander Ken Cockrell on the forward portion of the flight deck. To his right, pilot Mark Polanski on his first ride to orbit. Between them and behind them, Marcia Ivins, the flight engineer, and behind Mark Polanski on the flight deck, astronaut and mission specialist Bob Kerbeam. Tom Jones, the lone crew member, down on the middeck. Atlanta's traveling 4,100 miles per hour, already 100 miles uprange from the Kennedy Space Center, headed up the northeast coast of the United States at an altitude of 55 miles. Three minutes, 45 seconds into the flight.
Atlantis, Houston, negative return.
That call indicating Atlantis can no longer return to the Kennedy Space Center in the event of an engine failure. Again, all three main engines still performing well, as are the electricity-producing fuel cells and the hydraulic systems, the auxiliary power units aboard the space shuttle. Four minutes, 25 seconds into the flight, Atlantis traveling 5,600 miles per hour, downrange from the Space Center at the Kennedy Space Center, 200 miles at an altitude of 64 miles.
Atlantis, Houston, press to ATO.
Press ATO.
Atlantis can reach orbit on two engines should one fail at this point, approaching or now just passing through 5 minutes into the flight, 3.5 minutes remaining in powered flight. All continue to go very smoothly, very quiet here in the flight control room as all systems are in excellent shape aboard the orbiter. Now traveling 7,000 miles per hour at an altitude of 66 miles, already downrange, approaching 300 miles from the Kennedy Space Center.
Atlantis, Houston, single engine, ops 3.
Single engine ops 3.
Atlantis, Houston, press to MECO.
Press to MECO, and we're rolling.
Atlantis, Houston, single engine Zaragoza 104.
Single engine Zaragoza 104.
6 minutes, 10 seconds into the flight, Atlantis is rolled to a heads-up position now. Those multiple calls indicating Atlantis can reach the safe orbit on two engines and can also reach an orbit, reach a TAL site, a transatlantic abort site on one engine. And again, all three engines are in excellent shape, as are the hydraulic systems and fuel cells producing electricity for the orbiter. Atlantis is traveling 10,000 miles per hour. Uprange up the east coast of the United States now at a range of 400, or a distance of 470 miles at an altitude now of 66 miles, beginning to trade altitude for speed as Atlantis continues to head toward orbital velocity of 17,500 miles per hour.
Atlantis, Houston, single engine press 104.
Single engine press 104.
7 minutes into the flight, Atlantis can reach orbit on one engine should two fail at this point, but again, all three are in excellent shape. The three main engines burning fuel at a rate equivalent to emptying the average backyard swimming pool in 25 seconds. Seven minutes, 30 seconds into the flight, traveling 13,000 miles per hour. The three main engines beginning to throttle back to lessen the effects of the gravity on the orbiter and the crew. Less than 1 minute remaining in powered flight. Atlantis is now traveling 15,000 miles per hour. Downrange from the launch site, 720 miles. At an altitude of 63 miles, or about 340,000 feet. All very quiet, everything going very smoothly aboard the orbiter, all systems in excellent shape. Eight minutes, 20 seconds into the ride to orbit, standing by for the main engine cutoff call. And we do have confirmation of main engine cutoff.
For you, Atlantis and the STS-98 crew have taken up chase. The launch was all nominal, and they're on their way. They're about 3,200 miles behind you right now, but that's not going to be the case for very long. They'll be hot on your heels shortly.
Well, in the immortal words of John Paul Jones, a stern chase is a long one.
Well put. Hey, we'd like to go ahead and try to run you some video of the launch via OCA. The coverage is not all that great, but we're hopeful we'll be able to get some of this up to you if you're ready.
Okay, we're ready. Looks great. Good work to the Atlantis crew and all the folks at the Cape.
Okay, and also Soup would like to pass their congratulations along to you. They're very excited and happy the launch went off well.
Astronaut Dan Burbank in the International Space Station Flight Control Room there, talking to Bill Shepard, Yuri Gudzenko, and Sergei Krikalev aboard the International Space Station.
And Alpha Houston, just be patient. We're still working the video up to you. It'll be another few moments.
Okay, we're kind of enjoying the picture-in-a-picture-in-a-picture show here.
Yeah, we thought you might like that.
Tell Ginger it's logarithms.
Okay, we'll pass that along.
This is a view of the Expedition 1 crew live aboard the International Space Station, watching a replay of Atlantis' launch that occurred at 5:13 this afternoon Central Time. The view on the top right, a live picture from the International Space Station of Commander Bill Shepard, Flight Engineer Sergei Krikalev, and Soyuz pilot Yuri Gudzenko. The view on the bottom left, a replay of Atlantis' launch, again occurring at 6:13 this evening Eastern Time. All went very smoothly on all the way uphill, the climb to orbit, Atlantis beginning the chase to catch up with the International Space Station to deliver the Destiny laboratory to the orbiting complex. Again, the live picture of the Expedition 1 crew essentially well past its sleep period. The crew members did wake up in order to have an opportunity to be told of Atlantis' launch. Atlantis is scheduled to rendezvous and dock with the International Space Station on Friday about noon Eastern Time. The launch occurring as Bill Shepard, Yuri Gudzenko, and Sergei Krikalev aboard the International Space Station were flying high above the North Atlantic, about 1,500 miles or so ahead of the Kennedy Space Center, out in front of Atlantis at the time of launch.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our post-launch news conference for Space Shuttle Atlantis, Destiny, and STS-98. Here to bring us the countdown and status information is Jim Halsell, the manager of Space Shuttle Launch Integration at the Kennedy Space Center, and Mike Leinbach, the Space Shuttle Launch Director. And we'll begin first with Jim.
Thanks, George, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you agree with me that was just one of the most beautiful launches I've certainly ever seen. The way it launched up into the sunset and captured the sun rays, I think it captured the spirit in our hearts and how we feel about beginning this year of an ambitious launch schedule and an ambitious year of constructing the International Space Station. It's true that STS-98 took a little bit more than its fair share of work to get to this point also, so I think that made the enjoyment of the launch and the completely nominal countdown and ascent made us savor just that much more. As you well know, the crew is on orbit now with a successful OMS burn to circularize their orbit. They're going to begin their rendezvous sequence of burns to capture the space station and dock with it on flight day 3. Tomorrow is going to be a very busy day for them of preparation where they unstow and set up everything necessary to turn their ascent vehicle into an on-orbit spacecraft. My congratulations from the program to the people here at the Kennedy Space Center for getting us to this point. Mike?
Well, good. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate that. Well, it's a great day for the Kennedy Space Center, the shuttle program, and especially the space station program. I'm a shuttle guy right now, but I used to work on the station program, and I can tell you, having worked over there and met those people, there are people that have worked on that particular module for years and years and years, and post-launch to see the faces, and we called them up to the AA row where my console is and asked them to address the launch team. The launch team applauded them. It was just a really special moment. Launch countdown had a couple challenges in it. We had 2 red crews. We had some creeping regulators on some GN2 systems we wanted to go out and correct. So we did have 2 red crews, but they went perfectly fine. A couple little systems problems late in the count, but a good launch within the window, and we feel real good about it. And this really paves the way for continue the assembly of the station, which we're very, very excited about.